Two university friends, Philip Shaw and Dr. aka Enamul Haque, have been debating global issues among them every month since 1993. It was part of their strategy to learn from each other, because they grew up in a different socio-political environment, one in Canada and one in Bangladesh. We agreed to make this debate public through this podcast and videocast. Let us hear from Dr. aka Enamul Haque and Philip Shaw.
Hello, everyone. This is Enamul Haque, again from Bangladesh, and I'm with my friend Philip Shah from Canada. This month, we want to discuss about the world new economy that is going on. We thought that this will be an interesting issue for all of us. At the beginning of the year, we thought COVID will be gone by the middle of the year. It has not, and right now, despite all the predictions, nobody knows when it is going to go. There is a significant uncertainty in the whole world, and I thought that this is the time for us to talk about and see what we see from each other's lens in terms of what Phil sees from the Canadian side and what I see from the Bangladesh and South Asian side. So let us welcome Philip Shah. And Phil, what is your thoughts on the new economy that is
Well,
coming up?
well, thank you, Enamel. I'm Philip Shaw. I'm here in Canada, and it's nice to meet again this month. I often think about what's going on right now with COVID, and but on this side of the world in the stock exchange, stock values are going up. But when you look at it more specifically, it's stocks like Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon, and Microsoft that are driving the stock indexes to go higher. And so, in a way, it's a little bit of an illusion. And I've always had a hard time figuring out how does that exactly happen? Like what viable product does Facebook create, right? Or even Google for that matter? Because years ago we just couldn't even imagine that something is going on. However, they do create a lot of employment and a lot of economic activity, but it makes it difficult because in many ways, Dr. Haque and I are anchored back in the 1980s and back in the 1990s pre-internet, and that has changed everything. Because even in Asia right now, Asia and other parts of the world, Google is big too. Maybe Facebook and Google have different forms in China, but that's significant, and probably the Chinese growth will be fostered partly from some of these companies like Google and Facebook, but the Chinese versions, and that will probably infiltrate all through Asia. So, I mean, it's difficult to know because we're talking about things that didn't exist quite some time ago, but it's certainly interesting from a perspective of looking at the world economy and how things will change going forward. Your thoughts, Enamel?
Yes, I think Phil, one way to look into this, the way I see it, that the COVID has basically pushed everyone to this world of internet and using internet to do business, not just socialization. So while previously it was mostly socialization, looking at the Facebook, and now it is a business. People open up Facebook pages, at least in our country, in Bangladesh, for doing business. A lot of companies, organizations have done it. A lot of television are also now going into online. So they all realize that somehow this has, and it has also made people, I would say previously they were worried about this. Now they are comfortable. They know what to do about it. But right now, it is something that has gone quite strongly. In terms of new companies, a lot of companies has come forward with retail and other businesses. I think it's a time of transition, the way I see it. There are lots of what you call, I would say, fraudulent companies also came, companies who are not necessarily providing the best product. Companies whereabouts we have no idea because this is all net based. So these questions have arise, and I think the governments around the world will have to organize their regulatory structure to make sure that these kinds of things are not happening. But that's on the on the retail side of it. In terms of what you mentioned about the Chinese version of Facebook and others, I don't think that is here yet, at least not in Asia, mostly because of the language barrier. Unless they put it forward, is in a like what, for example, one thing that is very common among all of us, which is TikTok, which is a Chinese company, but it has somehow broken through these barriers, but not the others yet. WeChat is something that has broken through the barriers. So you will find WeChat quite common. You will find TikTok quite common, but others like Baidu, for example, which is mapping, one of the Chinese mapping Google. It's a fantastic. I have seen it in China. While I was in China last December, we were picked up by a taxi from a airport in Kunming, and one of my friend who was sitting with me, he said, "Oh, they are using Google." So I told him, I said, I don't think they're using Google. They're using something made in China. And then all of a sudden, I saw the very interesting one. There was a, there was a circle that we're going through from high lane changing. And this particular software was showing it exact lane like a camera. So it was exactly showing through. So you can see, and then when I pointed out that, look, Google has not done it yet, but the Chinese version has already done it. So you can see the competition. Those products are not here yet, but I think there is a chance the global economy will change and they will start looking at it. And probably that is one of the reasons why uh, American companies and American government particularly may not be very comfortable because the challenges are big.
Yeah, of course, we have all the old problems, and we have suspicion on both sides. The Americans are thinking of stopping TikTok and things of that because of national security interests. But also, too, I remember you using Google in China to talk to merchants on the street through Google Translate. It takes me, I have a colleague here in Canada that works with satellites up in the sky all around the world, and you know this fellow. And he had, when COVID came along, he had to do all their operations from home overnight almost. And he said it was very successful. And part of the reason it was successful was the internet is so robust compared to the way it used to be. 30 years ago, we all sat in a place and you asked him if you thought cell phones would work in Bangladesh, and he looked back at you and he said, you'll need to build a lot of towers. So that just shows you how the change is happening. And in 2020, COVID has kind of hurried everything along, and the new economy is almost newer than we really think.
No, I think that is perfectly, what you said. But at the same time, I also see with such a huge growth in internet-based economy, the demand for 5G is going to come significantly higher and higher. So there is another challenge coming for everyone, that if you are not with the 5G, you will find out many of the technologies, many of the issues will become slower, and countries will be now jumping into 5Gs, and that's going to happen very soon. That's how I see the economies are going to move ahead. Imagine
Course,
Bangladesh has a million students studying on the internet. So you need a very high-speed internet, and I think that demand is going to go up.
Yeah, and then of course there's everything beyond that we can't see, and that might be a discussion for another month.
That's all for today. Next month, they will talk about a new topic. Hope you enjoyed it.